Hello and welcome to Hima Council's Makala podcast. Makala means branches ka Sesotho, and on this podcast, we hope to journey with you hand in hand like the branches of a tree. My name is Amanda Masondo and I'm your host. We hope this podcast finds a way to impact, educate, and inspire your next. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Buzzsprout. Basically everywhere where you find your podcast fix every first and last Friday of every month. Hello and welcome to Hima Council's Makala podcast. Welcome home, everybody. If you're listening to me now, you're either listening to me on Apple Podcasts, you're on Spotify, everywhere where you get your podcast fix. So welcome. And it means that you're subscribed. It means that you are a regular here. And if you are not and it's your first time here, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please like and subscribe if you're a first time comer and you just want to hear more inspiring stories from entrepreneurs that are doing amazing work in the various spheres. Please don't be afraid to leave us a comment as well. We love to hear from you guys, what your thoughts are on the guests, what kind of guests you want to hear. Let's chat, let's conversate. Today, I'm bringing you a different vibe. Last time we had someone that was in the artistic world, and we're sticking with that theme. We're sticking with that artistic theme. My guest today, Sibusiso, Tiger. I'm going to get to where I went back to Tiger. Sibusiso Tiger Nkabinde is our guest. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
You came all the way from Soweto to come and talk to us. We are honored.
It's worth it.
We are honored. You run Black Crystal Ink Tattoos. Is that correct?
Tattoo studio.
Tattoo Studios. I say in the Kamalako.
The name that stuck, you know.
Let's before you give us that history.
Yeah.
Where did it all start? Where were you born and raised?
Born in Soweto, raised Protea North, Rockville, pretty much, around Soweto and the West End mostly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you went to school where?
Started at Eastgate Primary, and then ended off at National School of Arts.
Studying what?
Finance.
Fine arts.
Yeah.
Okay, so artist has always been your DNA, something that you've always known that you wanted to do.
Definitely.
100%. Okay. And then where do you first work?
My first job was, I think we did filing for a company called Interside.
Okay.
Like a school holiday gig. Then with that stipend, I saved some of it to buy myself like a few tattoo supplies.
Yeah.
And then I had to pretty much create everything else that I didn't afford at the time. And I started off with like a homemade machine that I got from a friend. This was about 22 years ago.
Hectic.
And it snowballed to what it is today.
Yeah.
I feel like it found me more than me trying to create it.
Okay, so you go into the world of work and you realize you've always known that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, that you wanted your own thing.
Definitely.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
always wanted to be an artist. I used to draw from a young age, and I pretty much like the challenge of drawing anything.
Yeah.
Someone brought to me. So
Okay.
the one day this guy comes to my house and he asks, "Can you draw a tattoo of my dog on me?"
It's a test.
Coming tomorrow is gonna tattoo it on me. So he'll trace over whatever you draw.
Oh,
And I took a few looks at his dogs, created like a mental image, drew
Yeah.
it on paper first, and then transferred that onto his skin. And he was so impressed, he pretty much suggested he teaches me how that machine works.
oh,
And just like that, that was my first tattoo. And he came with like a few threads the next day after that, and through word of mouth still grew. And someone just suggested, why not Black Crystal? It used to be like a rap crew around the area. They used to call themselves the Black Crystals. And I was the tattoo artist.
Okay.
So they decided to change the name because they said it was too long as well. I was like, it actually fits.
I'll keep it.
I'll keep it.
It works with my brand as well.
It's been working ever since.
Okay, all right. Maybe talk us through, obviously running a business has its own challenges or its own
Definitely.
success stories as well. Talk us through some of the challenges that you found in the very beginning, right? I can only imagine that tattoo is not something that is welcomed, I would think.
Exactly. So being trusted was the first challenge I faced. I was very young, still a teenager. I'm young black boy in a white community industry, and tried going for like apprenticeships, but they were just said too young, come back when you're like 16 or 18.
Okay.
So I decided if I can't find an open door, maybe I'm just going to have to create my own door. And that's how the brand started. Decided to learn a few things about business. So then you get a job first, then see what customer service is.
Yeah.
Get leads and clients. How do you market yourself? Where do you position your brand? And I was fortunate enough to study media studies in Boston Media House after matric, and use all of that, the marketing, the journalism. It helped me structure my business in a way that it's not like every other business that's out there. I didn't want a tattoo parlor, I wanted a tattoo studio. And I had to learn that difference first.
Yeah.
So that I could just tailor what I want to market to the people.
Give us that definition, that difference.
Okay, so parlor is where you can just walk in. There's usually files or designs in the walls where you can pick whatever they have, or just go into a consultation and make an appointment of which artist you want, which day you want, which hour you want, which design you want. Any changes can be done there. So it's more formal.
Yeah.
More uniform based. Every partner is almost very similar. They work like that. They work on an hourly rate. For the studio, there's much more freedom. You know, it's mostly bookings. It's private studio, so it's always like one-on-ones. It's more intimate. You guys can talk about anything and everything, knowing it's a safe spot. Your designs, they're created. Right, when you walk in, you guys sit down, you tell them what you want. You design the design together.
Gotcha.
Instead of you getting there and you get like
Picking a picture. Yeah.
So it's more about you making your own take and design, as opposed to going and picking out something that's already been designed, something generic off the internet.
Yeah.
It's more comfortable being in a studio because it's your safe space. It's a safe space for every client. And they always want to come back. The conversations are amazing as well because people get personal with you. They trust you with that information.
Yeah.
You know? So it goes beyond the world of tattooing. It's more like therapy, you know. So that's what the difference is.
Okay. So you mentioned some of the difficulties that you had with starting the business, right? Tell us more about that and how the community welcomed you when you first got started.
Okay, so being trusted was my first challenge. You know, I was very young. I was a small fish in a big pond. So the best I could ever do is mention the history of where I come from, the schools that I come from. Mentioning the high school that I come from, the National School of Arts there is made people trust me more. You know, getting to design the art with them, they showed them that I do understand what they want. My aim was always to exceed their expectations.
Okay.
You know, always to make them want to come back for more art and with more people, not for the same thing, not to repair whatever I had. So being that young and coming from that background helped me get trusted a lot. You know, on the business side of things, there's a lot I didn't understand at that age, which I do now.
What age is this?
So when I started, I was in grade 9. So I was like 13. I was 13 years old.
Okay, now I understand the trust issue. Okay, so yeah.
So, you know, when you get a kid who's running a business, it's not very easy to trust them. But when you see what they've done, the track record, the celebrities they've done, the people they've met, it's very easy to see that you're in good hands. So that's always helped me.
To build that rapport. Okay. So did you say you started, obviously you said that you started working at a filing company.
Yeah.
Is that the money that you used to start up the business? And how long did it take for you to look like an established, something now that looks established?
So the filing thing, that was like a school holiday job, right? So
okay.
All I could afford at the time was just the machines, the inks, the gloves, you know, the needles. Couldn't really afford a studio yet, couldn't rent out, I was still too young. So I used my grandmother's back room, Freya's back room, I travel from hair salon to a nail salon, just renting out space here and there whenever I could. I did a lot of house calls, so that always helped me save up enough to be able to one day start up my own studio.
Oh, okay. And then when you think about your journey so far, right? What were some of the things that you thought were a little bit difficult, right? Starting the business, things that you think there really shouldn't have been so much red tape, or things that were finding it difficult to start out. And then later on you find that actually this was actually rather simple. I wish people knew about it. What were some of those things?
Getting supplies, that was the hardest, because we needed a certificate to prove that you have a clean working studio. And you needed apprenticeships for that. You needed to study it formally for that. So I'm self-taught. I didn't do any of that. So it was hard until, when I got older, I understood that if I had to just register the business, it looks professional. It actually is professional. So all I have to do is just source out my supplies properly, take my time, and even if it means going overseas, online and checking who's selling the best products, investing in those.
That's what you needed to do.
Reflects in the work that you put out.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I want to talk about how you grew up, right? Guinea, did you find that entrepreneurship was something that you inherently were subdued to because of the environment that you're in? Or did you find that you just were the odd one out that just wanted to do something on your own?
So I grew up as the only kid, so I can't say I was like the odd one out. The business part of it, it's not something I grew up with. My granny used to run a business from the household, selling food, cold drinks, snacks. That's not really where I got it from. I think that bug bit me the first time I paid for a tattoo. I didn't realize I could actually make money off of it.
And charge people.
I just did it for fun. It was a passion,
Yeah.
You get to draw on people. They actually like you after that. They were like, okay, cool. I'll
This is
do
great.
This every day.
Yeah.
Until I got my first paying client. I was like, okay, cool. Because I asked them to just give me whatever they saw fair.
The artist is worth.
And seeing that money and knowing already what the plans I had, was like, this guy just solved half of my problems in that thing. So I started opening a Facebook page, started showing people my work, traveling with like a photo album of every tattoo I've done, people I've met. And holding money in my hands for the first time made me want to turn it into a business.
Okay.
But without losing the passion for it.
Yes.
So it's never been about the money, but the money's always made it easier to push my passion.
Why do you think you never really wanted to try the world of corporate? Why do you think you were just always opposed to it?
As a creative, you don't want to be boxed in and told how to do things, way to do things. You want to be given free rein, right? So I did try my thing at a corporate institution. My first 2 years there were fun because I was given free rein. Could literally be in any department because I was very good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
Quick learner, so didn't take that much training until I got to see beyond the curtain, the nepotism, the office politics, how things are actually done behind the closed doors. And I kind of felt like that's not an environment I want to be in. Yes, the salary is there, but it's also capped. It's limited. With your own business, you could decide how much you want to make, when you want to get paid. It comes with its own challenges, obviously, with the freedom and stuff. It's very easy to be lazy and slack, but you'll start seeing the reflections of that at the end of the month when you have bills to pay and stuff like that. So it's always nice to keep pushing and seeing how far you can push yourself.
Yeah.
That it does get addictive.
Okay. Let's talk about, maybe we always like to match up financial literacy with an entrepreneurial journey. Yeah. What was your interaction with money growing up versus now you have to understand it now that you're running a business?
I won't lie. At first, I was very ignorant about money. I always used to think, the more you spend, the more you make. But now I had to teach myself the difference between something that's expensive and something that's costly. An asset and a liability. Knowing all those differences helps you seeing something that you could find as an investment or as an impulse buy.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make you money, there's no need to buy it. If you can't buy it twice, then you can't afford it. Spend 7 days on a decision. If you still feel like it after 7 days, by all means go for it. It
Yeah.
means you really need it or you really want it.
Oh.
But avoid being emotional about money. It's supposed to flow, it's supposed to revolve, you're not supposed to keep it all.
Yeah. And you've been running it smoothly ever since.
God, definitely not smoothly. I wish I could say that. There's been ups and downs. You know, there are days where you wish, like, maybe I should just update my CV, go back to the court for a while. And then there are days where you feel like, I'm glad I left that.
Thank goodness.
You know,
Yeah.
some people call it a corporate culture. I see it as more like a cult in a way. You know, everything is designed to make you make money for them, not for yourself.
Yeah.
They'll never give you enough to go and start your own thing. They'll give you enough so you can afford to keep coming back.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. You mentioned in the beginning how you needed to sort of utilize and tap into social media. Let's talk about that some more. How were you able to market? Besides, you mentioned in the beginning, word of mouth, that was the big runner, but utilizing social media and those kind of tools. First of all, how did you teach yourself? Because I think we forget that the internet and those social media tools were not always available. So you always had to start from somewhere.
True.
How did that begin for you?
I think it all starts with adapting. So you obviously see people post at certain hours in a day, certain types of content in a day. At first, you're on the consumer side, right? You're just feeding on all that they're giving out. And then you start looking at it in a more analytical way. And you start realizing why they're posting some things at that time. Why aren't they posting their work at night at these times? Because no one's on it. If people are on it, they're not there to learn or to be manipulated into buying something. They just want to see something funny or a laugh after a long day.
Yeah.
So post something funny in the afternoons, post work in the daytime. So it's all about knowing what to send out, where to send out, and how you send it out is everything. I'd say I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I can't say I've
Mastered it, yeah.
You know, it's something that gradually changes every time. There's AI now, which pretty much does half the work for you, but you can't rely on it because it could make or break your brand as well. You always need to be behind the brand, pushing it as you know how.
Okay. Let's talk also maybe about adjusting to the different times, right? Talk to me about what you think how your industry has changed from when you started versus, I mean, I can only imagine a boy in grade 9 versus you now, all these years later in business.
Yeah.
What have you, some of the trends, some of the difference that you've seen in your industry?
So back then, most of my peers would be my biggest supporters. We used to hide our tattoos back then.
Yes.
Right? Because, you know, our parents always say satanic this, satanic that. And later on, you start realizing it's not what you put on your body, it's where your heart is. That goes to heaven and hell. Right? Your body is a temple, it's a temple of God, yes, but doesn't mean you can't decorate it.
Oh.
The people who have no tats and live very questionable lives, they're people with full body suits. They're very straight lives. I personally don't have anything against anyone. You know, it's down to personal preference. The best thing about the industry, how can I say, it's the freedom, it's the people. Anyone who's tattooed will always be honest with you. Trust those people more than the guys in suits and stuff. They expressing themselves.
Yeah.
They're wearing art that's there forever. So why would that person lie to you? It's not like how the narrative used to put it that tattooed people are gangsters. That used to work back then, not today.
Yeah.
People come with their parents. They're brought by their parents for their first tattoos on their 18th birthday. So seeing that change, you know, always reminds me that I'm making a difference in people's lives and I'm on the right path. I pray about it so there can't be anything satanic about it. If it was devil worshipping, then I wouldn't be as far as I am today.
Yeah. Because your spiritual journey is also helping you be the cornerstone of your business as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. You have to be truthful to yourself first before you interact with people.
Yeah.
Then
Okay.
you give them the real you.
Lovely. When I met you a few years ago, I remember you did an interview with a colleague of mine, and at the time you were training two students at the time.
Yeah.
They were about to matriculate.
Yeah.
What has been your experience now? Who's working at your studio now?
So my studio's always been a personal thing, right? It's always been me working with people, not a group of people working on people.
Okay.
Not that it was designed that way, but it works better that way.
Okay.
I always give the time to teach someone else. If they want to learn, my door is always open. I teach. I don't charge people to teach them.
Okay.
I always want to see people better than how I found them. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So giving back to someone who's young reminds me of back in my days when all the doors are shut in my face. So I know better. I can't do it. I'm not losing anything by teaching someone. It's
Yeah.
not like I can aid everyone in the world. You know, the more artists there are, the better the art industry is.
Mm.
So it's all about giving back.
And the more the industry grows.
And the more the industry goes.
Okay. So it's a revolving door. You train people as and when they want the kind of training that you do.
Exactly.
Lovely. Okay. Let's talk about the future, right?
Yes.
We're always looking to see what we can do to better ourselves, better the businesses that we're running. What are some of the plans that you have?
An international franchise.
Yes.
So I'm gonna be a bit delusional with this one. So
We love the Lulu.
I want like high-end tattoo studios all over the world. I want people to, see it as first preference. It's either black crystal or nothing. So the aim is to grow,
Yeah.
grow everyone as much as I can, to meet as many people as I can. The aim is just to make the world a better place, one
Yeah.
client at a time,
And one tattoo at a time.
one tattoo at a time.
Let's talk also maybe about the cost of doing business in South Africa, right? We've had lots of little problems, electricity, now it's water. Are these some of the issues that you're finding difficult in your business, or they don't really affect you?
They have affected me. So I've taken a lesson from everything that's gone wrong. The electricity still remains to be a big issue.
Yeah.
However, I've invested in alternative forms of power. Biggest challenge, I'd say, economy. Everything is getting more expensive, but you're getting less quality. That's why sometimes it's easier to go get your supplies from like someone who's overseas, as opposed to whatever's being sold aside, because you get really cheap brands,
Yeah.
packaged and sold for like exorbitant amounts.
Okay.
So I've always decided on investing in much more prominent brands overseas than on local stuff. However, with everything else, I always go South African if I can. With whatever brands, I've got people that I work with at the studio. There's a guy who has his own cafe daily. He always takes orders from my clients. Just opened
that's
up a
good.
snack
That's
shop for
nice,
my
yeah.
daughter. She's making money, so
Oh,
the
nice.
kids around the neighborhood, they get to wash cars, get to make their own money. So it's like a market on its own.
Of multiple businesses.
Exactly.
Love it. That's actually really nice. Daily. I like that daily because I can only imagine how many hours people are there.
Exactly. Everyone gets hungry.
Yeah. Okay. What did I want to ask you? There was a question that I had in the answer that you gave me, but we'll come back to that one. That's fine. When you think about some of the success stories, right, of where you've seen some of the businesses that were close to you or next to you at the time in which, are the businesses still operational? What do you think is sort of, besides the state of the economy, because I know that's a big thing that's affecting people's pockets, but are businesses thriving in the way that we hope they would?
It depends on what kind of business we're talking about. I've seen people who came as clients talking about a dream that they had for business, and the next time you meet them, they're opening up the second or third shop.
Yeah.
And then you get people who have to now close down shop because it's more expensive running that company or that brand, or they're just going back to the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So I've seen people lose faith in themselves. I've seen people surprise themselves by how powerful they could be.
Yeah.
I've seen how brands can grow and fall just because of stupid decision making,
Yeah.
lifestyle choices. So seeing brands grow, that's always been my mission.
Yeah.
Even if it means me helping someone else and taking a loss, by all means.
Yeah. And what keeps you going?
The people, definitely the people. The fact that you get to meet someone new each and every day, and everyone has a story to tell. The conversations, the people. Seeing someone walk in nervous and leave with a huge smile, planning to come back again and with more people. That keeps me going. That tells me that I've made a difference in that person's life. It may not be for someone else to see, but I know that person knows.
Yeah.
So it's a personal thing.
And even if it's for that one moment, yeah.
Even if it's that one moment, I'll always, even in my next life, I'll always come back as an artist.
Is it not really?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's healing. It's like a superpower in a way. It's kind of like selling self-esteem. You're much more confident with a new tattoo as the day you were before. So it's always nice to know that I'm behind that person's smile. What I could do, what my hands could do, are behind that person's newfound confidence. So it's always a life-changing opportunity.
Yeah. Okay. We often speak to entrepreneurs that have sat where you are sitting, and they always talk about the struggles that they are having. One with funding. That's a big one that always comes up on these conversations. And another is just tax, just understanding A to Z of SARS suddenly knocking at your door. Do you have any similar stories with regards to these two departments, or do you have other sectors that you think, hey, this one I wasn't ready for?
Yeah. So I'm more of a creative, right? I'm not that brilliant with like tech stuff, numbers and stuff. And someone told me, if you're not good at that, rather find someone who is and pay that person. So I've always done that. I've always allocated someone to handle the books, making sure I always comply and I'm always up to date with everything that's needed. The cost yet always rises, like with everything else in life. It's always going to rise. No one has promised us freebies or anything like that.
No, yeah.
The aim is to remain consistent. Make sure at any given time, if auditors had to come knocking, you're in good standing. You always have your back covered. So it's always good to be honest and make your money the right way instead of having to explain yourself somehow. That's always going too costly.
Yeah.
It's never going to look good for your brand. So if you can't do it, pay someone that can do it.
Yeah. To be fair, and that frees up time for you to do what you love.
Exactly.
Okay.
By convenience.
100%. All right. I always ask some of my guests, are entrepreneurs made or born? What's your take?
I would say they're born. They're born. There's a fire that burns in you that's just not going to settle for the salary. Well, yes, the salary is there, but you know that you get paid once a month for 31 days. But as an entrepreneur, you can get paid for 25 days. Doesn't mean you'll keep all the money, but it's nice to make your own money because you get to see how far your talent can push you, how you're not limited. The world is your oyster. You can go anywhere you want if you're an entrepreneur. As long as you're willing to accept that it won't be easy.
Yeah.
That's why not a lot of people are doing it. So I think they are born rather than made. Yeah.
If you were to give entrepreneurs who are wanting to start out, whether or not they are a high school student, which is how you started, or someone who's working in corporate but has a burning idea, but is just missing that one thing, that little leap of faith, what were some of the things that you would tell them?
So there's a question I normally ask people. If you had a money printing machine at your house and you could print as much money as you could, where would you stop? And most people say nowhere. And I'm like, with your thoughts and your dreams, be like that, be delusional, dream as far as you can, print as much faith as you can with your heart. You are the money printing machine, so you are the person who's going to have to go out there and make money.
Yeah.
But don't make money the primary object. Focus on the craft first. The craft will the craft is the tool that will make you the money. So if you focus on the money, you forget about the craft, you'll start seeing a pause or stop there. If you focus on the craft, you'll make more money than you care.
Yeah.
You know? So it's always craft first, money later.
Money will come.
Money will come. Money is an incentive.
Yeah.
It's a scorecard of how well you know your craft and how well you sell it as well.
Okay. Knowing what you know today, would you do it all again?
Every single time. Every
Really?
day, yes.
Even that time when your client didn't pay you for that one
I'm
tat?
grateful for those days. They teach me how vile people can be. And,
Yeah.
you know, it teaches you how to avoid some people. And teaches you how to steer your business in a way that you always secure the transaction first.
Yeah.
Do the craft, and you know, you laugh, everyone's happy at the end of the day.
Yeah. Lovely. Give us maybe one or two tattoos that you've done that are still something that you remember that you'll never forget. Or some of the most outrageous, because I'm sure people come with different things that they want to do. But what are some of the memorable ones?
So these aren't mainly about the designs, right? It's
Yeah.
about the significance that they meant to the people. So there's a guy who I'm still friends with today. I met a day after he lost his mom, and he was like, "You're the first person I'm seeing. You're the first person I want to see. I want to get a picture of her on my arm, and then I'll go for therapy and everywhere else I'm supposed to be." And it made me feel like I'm that fine line between this person's ability to hold himself and breaking down. If I can just do this one thing for him,
Yeah.
his world is manageable again. The other one was tattooing an 18-year-old who was brought by their dad. So the first time I met this 18-year-old was when they were born, when I was with the dad at the hospital. And when I got to tattoo them after they turned 18, it was like a milestone. Like,
Yeah.
one, this has never felt like work, you know. So I'm still in the right place at the right time. And two, I get to see or get to share milestones with people. These two people could be anywhere else celebrating this girl's 18-year-old, and they decided to spend their day with me. And that to me meant a whole lot. You don't get days like that in a 9-to-5, right?
No. I can confirm. Isaac. I said, that's amazing.
That is always, and that's why I'd always go back to it.
When I was like,
It's a dream
yeah, no,
job,
corporate will never catch you.
dream
I've been
job.
trying to convince him. I'm sitting here this whole time. My
I
questions.
tried it. I had first-hand experience. I saw why it doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah.
I had to like.
And you can let it go to other people.
I felt like I was blocking that opportunity for someone else who might need that space to feed their family and stuff. I have something that could work better for me at home. So all I had to do is just believe in myself.
Sure.
And that's the best thing I ever did.
If you could tell entrepreneurs what not to do, what would that be? You told us what to do.
Don't
printing money.
overthink that dream. If you start analyzing it so much that you find reasons why it wouldn't work, then it's not a dream. A dream should always work. You know, it works despite
Obstacles, challenges.
everything. Exactly.
Deep. Ladies and gentlemen, Sibusiso, Tiger Nkabinde. Thank you, sir.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.